a while. I'm in front of the camera. It's making me nervous. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Late to the Party, where we review movies that are at least 10 years old and have fun doing it. So we have the guys from the Comic Cave. We've got Isaac. We got Jason. We got Jose. We've got Josh and Liz here at our place. And we've got our illustrious leader, Nate the Great. Right.
And vote for him.
Okay, so the movie that we're reviewing today is SAHARA, or SAHARA, depending on how you want to say it. Was released. So, SAHARA. Oh, Nate, stop it. It was released in 2005 and it was based off of a Clive Cussler novel. It's got a Google rating of 78%. And Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 38%. And it stars Matthew McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, Steve Zahn, William H. Macy, Lenny James, Rainn Wilson, and Lambert Wilson. No relation. So brief synopsis. I'm not going to give it. You have to watch the movie. So, first question, guys. Did you like it? Isaac, did you like it?
I don't know. It was all over the place. It started off all over the place. And the action scenes were pretty cool. They had me entertained, but the story was I couldn't follow the story really. I didn't know which bad guy was which. I don't remember anyone's name. Matthew McConaughey didn't have as many one-liners as I hoped. Penelope Cruz was some good eye candy. But all in all, I would skip this movie again like I did years ago when it first came out. Sorry.
Okay. No accounting for taste. What about the rest of you? Jason?
I loved it. It was so funny. It was like it was all over the place, but it was funny, and like watching them fight in the desert with an old I thought World War I because it opens in World War II, you know, and there's all those explosions. I was just waiting for a plane to come flying over the top. Oh, sorry, no, it was Civil War.
I was gonna say.
What movie did you watch?
No. It felt like there's no way the Civil War was like that. Like, come on. I don't know. Anyway, it was a fun movie, and it kind of reminded me of like a live action heavy metal movie in a lot of ways. Like, it's just very like hot bodies, guns, desert, rock and roll music. So I don't know. It was fun all in all.
All right, Jose?
I liked it. I've stated before my favorite video game is Uncharted, and this really felt like a live action Uncharted. The only thing I think was missing was just the puzzle solving. I don't think they solved a single puzzle. I think the way that they found the ship, or the missing what was it called, the Texas, was through a cave painting, which I found kind of weird. But like Lego said, I mean, I dug the soundtrack a lot. I like William H. Macy. I like Rainn Wilson. I like Matthew McConaughey. Cast was good. Yeah, story was a little like kind of all like it starts off as a treasure hunt, then it becomes the save the world sort of plot out of nowhere. So I could have used some tweaking in that department, but I love the feel that they had like the Uncharted video games, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it was decent. I feel like it's something that I think my dad would enjoy because he's a big action kind of guy. So,
all right, Nate.
The length that I watched of the movie didn't really set things up properly. So usually when you watch a movie that has commercials in it, there'll be like a segue. You know, there'll be a spot in between scenes where one scene will end, the other one will kind of start. They could squeak a commercial in there and it'll be good. But it was like in the middle of an action scene, guy would be going to punch somebody, it would cut off, talk about Viagra, and then go back and punch the guy. the continuation was so horrible that, like, once the commercial comes on, I'm pulling out my phone and I'm looking for things on eBay or looking for cool memes or something to fill my time in between the commercials. And it just totally jolted me from any kind of continuity. And I want to say I watched it, or at least over parts back and forth like 3 times, because I really wanted to like it. It had all of the things. It had all of the pieces that I would want in a cool movie sandwich, but they didn't seem to mix well together. It's like, I like pastrami, I like peanut butter, I like jelly, but you can't put peanut butter, jelly, and pastrami on one sandwich and have it be good.
That's you.
That movie was for me.
Not with that attitude.
Sounds like you got a whole lot of quit in you. Josh.
When I saw this movie the first time in the theater, I didn't like it at all. I kind of had that same sensation that Isaac had, where you're just like, there's all this stuff going on, and the 2 plots don't appear to be intertwined at all. But this time, watching it now, and I'm sure I've seen parts of it, like if it's on TV and you're visiting somebody's house and you might catch a moment, but this is the first time I sat down to watch it again. And I enjoyed it a lot more this time than I did the last time. I was pretty well entertained, and I didn't feel nearly as lost as I did the first time. It was a good flick.
This is one of my, I'm a big, not just comic book reader, but novel reader, and Clive Cussler is one of my favorites. And they did a really good job casting all the characters. Usually they screw all that stuff up, but from a novel to a movie, this is one of the better adaptations of it, believe it or not, even if you know. Just a fun adventure. It's just a fun adventure movie, and yeah. So what then was what'd you guys think of the all of the effects in this one? Because in this one they didn't do a whole lot of CGI stuff. Everything in this one was practical effects, which led to why this movie wasn't considered a blockbuster, because they spent too much money actually filming the movie because of all the practical effects and the things that they did. So unfortunately it caused it to go over budget. But what do you guys think of the fact that they filmed everything on location and all of the fight scenes and stuff and the effects in this one?
The effects in the scene where Steve Zahn's in that silo and it blows up, that had to be CGI, because he would have died. That guy would never have made it out of that explosion. I was like, oh man, he's gonna die. And then I saw him jump out. I'm like, at least kill somebody. But yeah.
Yeah, they did. They killed a whole bunch of natives. This one.
They know what they signed up for.
That wasn't practical.
They know what they signed up for. At least somebody punch a camel. I liked when Matthew McConaughey used the camel to kick somebody. That was pretty cool. That was some.
Yeah, that's why Peter didn't sign off on it.
Not PETA, the ASPCA.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was too much camel abuse going on, so the ASPCA couldn't sign off on the movie.
Really?
How did they know? Did they ask the camels?
Well, no, the scene where they're chasing the train and they're riding the camels to jump on there. They had to have professional camel riders be the ones to do it, and they had to beat the crap out of the camels to get them to get close enough to the train to jump off and onto the train, because camels don't want to do that. So they were literally kicking those animals hard to make them do that.
Well, it was worth it. Those effects, man.
That effect was pretty cool.
That camel scene, that train scene, it was kind of disjointed. How long was the train? Because they're riding, they get off and it keeps on going by these camels that are totally did not look like they had just ran after a train. They're just kind of chilling. Disjointed, that one was. It also had 3 commercials in it. In the one scene. So that might have messed me up too.
I liked how they were also buried in the sand when the train passed by with the camels just sitting. That was pretty cool. And they were super clean once they were out of there.
I love that. I love that old car that they have in there. I forgot the name of it. I thought it was like an old school Rolls Royce or something.
Cruella
Yes.
DeVille. That's Cruella DeVille's car.
Whatever it was.
Shadow or Phantom something or other. Because that's another thing that
Was it?
the author Clive Cussler, he collects those. That's why it was put in there.
Collective.
Oh, dude, I love that car.
Yeah, he has like
I love
a huge
that.
garage
Yeah.
full of them.
I actually personally like the when they're in the desert and they're lost and they're carrying that the truck bed and they find a plane and he says, "Oh, I bet there's a toolbox inside," and he says, "I hate to rain on your parade, but I don't think we can fix it because it's a crashed plane." But instead they improvise and it's like they're what is it? What would you call that? Wind sailing. I love that scene. I thought that was awesome. I was like, that's so cool. That's so badass. It was so out of nowhere for me, and it was so smart, and I liked it. I just like the that improvisation of that of the plane. So that was pretty cool. That was a cool scene. I could see how it being a practical effect. And to answer your question, I think that was the right route, because the movie, at least to me, didn't feel aged. With the, using the old school vehicles, using, being in the desert terrain, things are going to get beat up. It didn't feel like that. It didn't feel too old. Plus the use of solar power, obviously that's something that's, still relatively being used today. So I thought that, I think that they went the right route, even though it wasn't a blockbuster.
Lego.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jose there. I really don't think there was definitely some non-practical effects mixed in there, but it holds up pretty well being a practical effect. It kind of, I know you framed it this way when you originally proposed it, but it really did remind me of Indiana Jones, and like having those practical effects and seeing the chases and just everything. Just it felt really fun and it, like, there's something real about it. So it was cool.
But
I know. I'm totally down. I think practical effects are what makes a movie. I think too much CGI blows things, because while you can suspend your disbelief, it, like Lego says, it doesn't have that real feel. It doesn't seem like something's actually taking place. So this movie having mostly practical effects is something that's enjoyable. The scene where their speedboat gets blown up and then they have to swim to shore after they did the the Panama maneuver or something. Anyway, like while they're climbing out of the river onto the shore, you can see the boat burning in the background and like a column of smoke rising up. In a lot of modern movies, that would be like done CGI, and it wouldn't look entirely realistic. But when you're watching this film, you can definitely tell that there's like something burning in the river back there and just throwing up these clouds of smoke. And I'm sure that, that was one of those things where they, blew up like $60,000-$70,000 in one shot.
And you can set fires like that in those shithole countries, right?
that was another thing, though. Another reason why they had to go over budget, because they filmed it in Morocco and they had to like pay a whole lot of money for their safety to be able to film in that area.
Lots of bribes.
Yeah, that was like half the budget. It seemed like
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes.
Did I just hear a briefcase open with a bunch of money?
that's right. All right, so I have a different kind of question. This was supposed to be the first in a series of that they were supposed to build off of this and turn this into a franchise series. Do you think it would have held up over time, like James Bond or even like an Indiana Jones type franchise? Or do you think it was this should have just been a one and done like it was?
I wasn't clamming for a sequel or more of this. That's for sure. Sorry.
I didn't even know this movie came out. And I watch movies. Like I'm a movie guy. I've seen a ton. I watch movies all the time.
I thought this was a chick flick when it first was brought out.
For sure.
Well, there's chicks in it.
A chick in it. That's like the worst part of this movie for me is Penelope Cruz. Her acting for some reason just was not just didn't do it for me.
What are you talking about? She did the perfect job.
I just see her as a World Health Organization doctor.
What, like Christmas?
Yeah,
joke?
that was.
But yeah, I mean, I guess when you look at the James Bonds, she's the Pitt girl, not the Bond girl.
But you could definitely make this. You could have made this a franchise had they played the cards right and it had been successful at the box office. Because, as I mentioned before, even like the Uncharted video games, they went up to 6 video games in total. People just love the idea of like treasure hunting, history, anything like that. Look at National Treasure; they went with the trilogy. So I think when you play it right and you market it right, and there's that, and people actually go and watch it. You could definitely have made this into a franchise. Kind of now that you mentioned that it was based on a novel, I remember reading that at the beginning. Is there other books in this series, or is it just the one novel?
No, for the Dirk Pitt series, there's 20-something novels. Just Clive Cussler is written like 80-something books. Had written 80-something books. But he broke it down. He did the Dirk Pitt has about, I think, 20 novels in it, and most of them revolve around Numa. And most of them take place or have to do with the maritime, like salvaging, and so it would have been, if it was to turn into a franchise, it probably would have been Indiana Jones on the water type situation to follow the books, because other books in the series like Raise the Titanic and Iceberg and things like that, so it would have revolved more around that. Yeah.
So Liz, if we break this into its components, I think I didn't read the books, but you did, and I trust your judgment on the casting being square. I think we're all in a consensus that they executed the special effects decently. So what do you guys, I mean, the books were good according to what you say. Did it just not translate well into the script?
Well, this isn't the first book that he wrote, so this is like number 3 or 4 in the series. I think they picked this one because they could film it on land mostly instead of on the water, because most of the other stuff, like I said, takes place mostly in the. But as far as the casting, the actors portraying the, like Dirk Pitt and Algier and William H. Macy's Sandecker character, those castings and the way they played them actually fits. They did a fantastic job casting those actors for those characters. It translates very well. For me, reading the book, like I always compare it, I was telling Josh, to like Jurassic Park. Like, yeah, they made things in Jurassic Park, they changed it, but the feel, if you read the novel and then you watched the movie, the translation and the feel for it is the same. They did just as good of a job with the book to the movie. It just wasn't, I think when it came out, it probably just wasn't the right time, or yeah, I think they went over budget, and I think the pencil pushers just looked at it and said, nope, we spent too much money on it doing this, that, and the other, so we're just going to cut it off right here. And I think this was also right around the time Matthew McConaughey had his bongo naked fiasco, so he kind of went, he had that little problem right there, so he became not a viable actor for a while. So,
Josh, what were you saying about the controversy, Josh? Or was it just the PETA thing?
No. This film was plagued by controversy. Like Liz mentioned, it was over budget because they did all these practical effects, and they filmed a lot of scenes that ended up on the cutting room floor that cost them a lot of money. There was a sequence where they did like a plane crash, and it was all practical effects. It was like $2 million to do the scene, and they didn't even put it in there. So they were just blowing money left and right on every damn thing. And then there was supposedly a contractual obligation for Clive Cussler to have creative control over the film, and they didn't do things that he wanted to be done, and they basically told him to pound sand. And so the movie was tied up in legal battles for years, I think going as far forward as 2012. But I think I think that the fact that it was over budget, number one, because it actually did well in the box office. It made $119 million. That's not, for a 2005 film, it's pretty decent, but the movie cost 160 to make, you know? But the other problem was because Cussler was involved in this spat with the studio before the film came out, he was talking trash on it. So, you know, you have like Access Hollywood doing an interview for the film and they talk to the author. He's like, nah, you know, it's probably not good for the way that the movie turned out. And I think a lot of the professional critics panned it, basically kind of having some of the same statements as like you and Isaac about like the plot and that it's really shallow and contrived and all this kind of stuff. But I think general audiences seem to enjoy it quite a bit. Yours truly accepted. So,
well, the books were shallow and contrived too. It's a formulaic situation. And I think it's the same thing with like how Alan Moore doesn't like the fact that everything was done with his movies, even
he doesn't
though
like anything, man.
Clive Cussler's the same kind of author, where he wants. Dirk Pitt is, I think, his alter ego. Because and so when he doesn't see certain things done, or you know, it's one of those things. I mean, when you have the character that's like works for a fictional, well, at the time it was a fictional agency, now it's a real agency, the Numa. That was something that he wrote back in the books. So it was a fictional that is now currently in, what did I say, 1979. It's an actual non-profit organization that does maritime historical dives that he founded.
Yeah, he found the author Clive Cussler founded it after he had established it in his novels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
There's a lot of good things that have come out of that, but it's like I said, it's unfortunate that this series didn't take off as well in the theaters. Okay, so let's just let's go to the buckets. How many buckets, Isaac?
4 buckets.
Like the dramatic fingers. Was it like slow-mo, or was it like bad internet there for you? You were hesitating at first.
No,
that guy's missing a thumb.
This is a 10.
Oh, go on.
That's a 4. 4 buckets from Isaac. 4 buckets.
Jose?
I'm gonna double it up on Isaac's. I'm gonna give it an 8. Just yeah, it loses its points because the plot is a little kind of, you know, all over the place.
2 points because of the plot.
All that, but dude, you know, I'm a sucker for practical effects. I'm a sucker for anything with history and treasure hunting, stuff like that. You know, the acting wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it. I liked all that cast. You know, even Penelope Cruz, you know, but you're right that she did have those moments where I was like, oh, come on. But I didn't think it was a horrible movie. And I think it would be something that, like I said, I would have my dad or my mom watch with me. So I give it an 8 out of 10.
Lego.
Ten.
I need a for me.
Oh, 10. I loved it, and I didn't know there was a chiller guy out there than Matthew McConaughey, but Steve Zahn made him look Mr. Matthew McConaughey, you know. So I really liked that. That was cool. It was a good movie. 10 out of 10.
Nate.
I'm gonna give you a score of insert commercial here.
I'm gonna get you a real copy so you can watch it, because if that's your only complaint about this, you're gonna have
Okay, now I'll give a score. I'll give it a 3. It's not horrible. I mean, maybe if you give me a real copy, there'll be some redemption involved, but I just kept on getting sidetracked by Facebook because of the commercials that I just couldn't keep going with it. And I didn't think the characters were miscast. I didn't really. It just, I don't know. It wasn't. It's a salad bar with beets and eggs and things that didn't match them. 3.
Josh.
I think story-wise, it's a little convoluted. I think the acting is strong. I think the directing, you know, in spite of the budgetary problems, I think the directing is good. I think that it's a fun movie to watch. I don't think that's deniable. I think the only real problem with it is that I don't think that this movie is influential in any way. If anything, it's just copying off of other movies that are out there in the same type of genre. So just going off of the system that Nate provided, I would give it a 7.
You're sleeping on the couch. I like this movie, obviously, a lot. But that's because I'm a sucker for all of this. So I'm gonna go with Lego, and this is a 10 for me. It is. It's got the things that I like in a movie. It's got fun acting. It's a fun story. It's not serious. It's just a fun kind of movie that you just see and watch. And I like the interaction between McConaughey and Steve Zahn. They're 2 characters. They play very well off of each other, and the one-liners that they do, it's very subtle and it's very fun. I liked it. But I'm a sucker for these kinds of like kind of movies. So it's a 10 for me. And
it should be noted that Liz's favorite scene is the first scene we see of Matthew McConaughey as he comes out of the water with the water just glistening off of his rock hard ass.
Yeah, he did have a little bit longer hair.
I agree with you, Liz. I agree with you. That scene right there, or that's what got me.
Right.
Scene too.
If they have to remake it, then that scene needs to be redone with him. Yeah, with the whole like coming out. Like, yeah, dude.
I didn't realize McConaughey was in such good shape.
Yeah, playing the bongos is tough. It's a real workout. So, Nate, you get to pick the next one, right?
That's right. We are back, and I want you guys to get excited because this is going to be a fun one, all depending on the choices you make. So, we have a silly route, and we have a more serious route, but they're on the same road. One of them is, I wanted to come up with a more creative name, but I couldn't. It's just legit Kung Fu. And the other one is BRUCE-SPLOITATION.
BRUCE-SPLOITATIon.
I think I'll.
Glad you did there. That was good.
BRUCE-SPLOITATIon.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm curious with the BRUCE-SPLOITATIon.
I'll go with that.
BRUCE-SPLOITATIon.
Okay. You guys asked for it. Before I go to BRUCE-SPLOITATIon, I'm going to go through what the legit Kung Fu ones were that you guys decided not to choose. 36 Chamber of Shaolin. I watched it today. Super awesome Kung Fu movie.
Let's go back to that then.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, Rumble in the Bronx.
Good. It was so good.
Rumble in the Bronx. Dope movie, man. And then the last one of that one was Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh.
But Kung Fu Hustle's a comedy.
That should be in the BRUCE-SPLOITATIon.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're segueing into BRUCE-SPLOITATIon. BRUCE-SPLOITATIon is after Bruce Lee died, there was a vacuum. And you know, the Chinese are notorious for just copying shit and trying to put it out as what it is. And that's when Bruce Lee and Bruce Liu and Bruce Lowe and all those guys came out. So these are all Bruce Lee knockoffs. Hence the name BRUCE-SPLOITATIon. We have clones of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's deadly... Damn, I can't read my own writing. Deadly Fingers. Bruce Lee's Deadly Fingers.
Deadly hands.
And Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger.
Do that one. Exit the Tiger, Enter the Dragon. Or Enter the Dragon. Whatever the hell that title was.
The last one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger.
All right, Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger. Stars Bruce Lee with an L-I. And it's on Amazon. And I watched it yesterday. And it is so bad.
Oh.
Lego, if you give this one a 10, man, we're gonna have to hire somebody else to fill your seat. No, I'm kidding. I'm excited to hear what you can pull from this to make it into a 10. And I'm gonna pull out all of my editing tricks too to try to make this video a fun one as well. So it should be a good time. BRUCE-SPLOITATIon for episode 20. Get excited. Or is this 20? That'll be 21, right? 21. Wow, we got 20. That's a lot. All right, that's it. Liz?
All right. Well, thanks for watching another one of us, or another one of our episodes, ragging on and having fun with movies. From the Scott household, I'm Liz.
And Josh.
The Comic Cave guys.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason. I'm Jose.
And our illustrious leader.
Nate the Great.
And we shall see you next week with some fun BRUCE-SPLOITATIon spelled with the L-I. Have a good one.
Yeah.